one last time in Season 12 and on F1 24. Welcome along, folks, to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Season 12 of Formula 1, Round 20. The final race of the season, the final race of the game cycle, also the final race with yours truly on the commentary. This should be a fun one, as we always say, not only because of past races here, but because of this weekend so far. Will it be three Americans winning all three races this weekend? Or will it be Jack going for the four-peat in Abu Dhabi? Time will tell. Either way, folks, I'm Ryan Searles, and later on tonight, I'll be having RPL Titan Iron join us for the action. The Drivers' Championship, already clinched. Second place in the Drivers' Championship as well, also clinched. However, that Constructors' Championship, McLaren, they have won it already. Ferrari, who are in second, they've claimed second already. So now it's a race for third place. Mercedes have it, Red Bull want it. Also, a race for eighth is going on further back with Haas, Williams, and Sauber. A lot of things to focus on tonight, and also we'll be having unserved penalties brought up as well. We'll be having some drivers with tier changes brought up as well. Some drivers having their final races with certain teams. But what we do know, this is the final race on F1 24 for all tiers tonight. Titan Iron Wolf, good to have you. How are you doing tonight?
Well, just got off from having a thrilling, fun time in just playing another game on the Xbox. But
There you go.
yeah, hard to believe we are basically coming up to the end of the season, and we are yeah, talk about what a chaotic cycle it has been for the F1 24 game as a whole. I mean, we've had crashes, we've had season bans, we've had race bans, many winners, plenty of losers. Hate to be on the blunt side. We have the rise of F1 Tier 3, and basically the demise and the end of F2 yet again. Yeah, so much has happened in this game cycle, and we are here at the finale of everything that is tier racing. But I did notice that in the announcements earlier today that there is gonna be a possibility of a 5 race, like a miniature social preseason in preparation for F1 25. I saw that in the announcement Jack put up a couple of hours ago.
That should be a ton of fun. We had obviously one-off races, of course, that were planned off-season races, but it just does add to the already added stuff that was going to happen anyway. So that is a ton of fun to see. I already mentioned the driver standings, as I was saying, but the constructors are race for third place. Mercedes have it. Red Bull want it. Aston Martin in the thick of things, not really going to get third. Could get fourth. Haas, because of Leo Lund's finish last week, he got kicked off the podium, but he still finished fourth. They maintain what could be another top 8 finish, and they got it back. Williams 9th place, Sauber down in 10th. By the way, congratulations to our first-time Tier 3 winner yesterday or 2 days ago in Abu Dhabi, Polish Hammer, his first win in the tier. Also, we had yesterday's winner in Tier 2 return to his winning ways on F1 24 now. Beatnik with his first win on this game cycle, his first win in 14 months, one of the Mercedes. So we're looking at a potential All-American winning weekend. Beatnik also on loan for this Tier 1 race, I believe. Actually, no, he's reserving, but still. He is racing tonight. We'll go through the lineup in a little bit, but I want to recap last week. Brazil, we had Skither win 3 in a row, and he's also won 3 in a row from pole position. He's looking to do so for a 4th straight time. Behind him originally was Leo Lund, but he got penalized. So did Jack Miles. Willow in the Mercedes ended up on the podium for the first time. Jack Miles, after his penalty, secured 3rd place in the race, and Leo Lund fell back to 4th. Definitely a chaotic race in Brazil last week. You missed, Titan, but it was definitely one looking back on that had action all over the place. We had Gecko and Alex battling down there in 8th as well. We had a battle for the fringes of the points. Lyral Fusion ended up moving up to 9th after a lap 1 crash on his Tier 1 debut. I mean, we had all of it. Everything you could basically ask for is what we had in Brazil last weekend. And obviously Skither, as we said already, 3 in a row. From pole as well.
Yeah, 3 in a row. 3 in a row is quite impressive for Skither, and yeah, I mean, can he go 4 in a row? It's gonna be a bit of a tall ask, as there is some good challengers up and about there. You have the McLarens of Jack and GTK. I mean, he'll be in the Haas, but don't discount out Leo as well. Leo, by the way, one thing I ought to know, because I know you didn't mention it, but Leo is unless there's some catastrophic things, he's gonna end up as the penalty points champion this season. He's got 19 on him, 5 more. He's basically booted out for season 13.
Shall be an interesting one, no doubt about it. Yeah, he got more penalty points for the switching academies, I should say, mid-season twice. Can't do that. Cookie, I believe, has a qualifying ban tonight. He did not serve the qualifying ban he had a few weeks ago, so he will have to serve that tonight. I don't think there's anything else for unserved pens, but it would be nice to know if there is. Either way, we mentioned how we had a race for 3rd place in that Constructors. We mentioned as well the Drivers' Championship top 2 places clinched already. And
top 3, actually.
Last weekend, Skither, yeah, top 3, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wait, no, we can add more. We can add more. It's basically pretty much the top 4 is pretty much set in stone. But 5th is up for grabs between Cryptic and KVS.
Yes, and Florian not racing tonight could maintain that spot over KVS in 6th if KVS does not have the race he wants. If Egg somehow wins, he could end up leapfrogging a few as well. I mean, just a small recap, though, on our previous races here, folks. Season 7, we had that championship battle going down to the wire with Ding and Skither. We had Reese and Cryptic collide from the lead. Reese, a part of the Mercedes camp. Cryptic, a part of the Red Bull camp. 2 of the teams fighting for the Drivers' Championship at the time. It was Skither who came out on top. Ding spun with a few laps to go. Skither came out on top for the championship, but got penalized in the storage room. It was Reese Dainty who won that race. Obviously, as we said already, Skither the champion that day. And that was the last time in Abu Dhabi that Jack Miles did not win here. He won from pole in Season 8. That was his first win. Season 9, he made an overtake on the last lap on T.S. Korsman. Season 10, we didn't race here, but Season 11, he backed it up with the same thing on the fake TB, his teammate, last season here. So many Abu Dhabi races to look back at. Even one Beatnik would be happy about. Yesterday's winner, he got a P5 here before in a Williams back in Season 5. Season 4, Aaron Maxwell G1 here. This is going to be his last Tier 1 race for quite a while. He's not had the best season anyway, so him going down to Tier 2 might help his confidence to get back into Tier 1 again. Our only 100% race was won by Mally41, who's in the Alpine tonight. And sadly, this is the last race from the Alpine/McLaren Academy. They'll be merging over with the Mercedes Academy next season. We have Aston Martin, who's a part of that Mercedes Academy currently with Cryptic and Ding. They will be joining the Red Bull Academy. So a few changes going on next season as we know it, and next game as well. Next season already on next game anyways. So those are just some of the things we have lasts of tonight. And we'll be talking about more of those in qualifying. But in terms of our last races here, anything else you'd like to mention, Titan?
I think you pretty much have it all covered. And but we will be having our hands on a full grid potentially. Only one driver missing, that being Ding, the second Aston Martin. And I think that's actually a nice way to basically end off the F124 racing cycle for the seasons with a full grid at a phenomenal track. And yeah, and also one little note when you mentioned Mally 41 winning the season 1 event, not only was it not only was it a 100% race, but it was also a double points event.
Yeah, that's true. Also, it was, I believe, the first McLaren win as well. Yes, it was.
Yes, yes it was, yes. I had to think for a second too.
We will be readying up in just a few moments' time, but let's go over some other things as well with that being said. This is Jack Miles' last race for the McLaren team. He'll be moving over to Ferrari next game and next season. Speaking of Ferrari, NRM KVS will be departing from the academy and team as well. This is his last race with Ferrari as well. Beatnik, this is his last race before moving up to Tier 2. He will be also racing for the final time in the Red Bull Academy. We have JTK in the McLaren. This is also his last race before they become Alpine/McLaren Academy. Same thing for F1 Shorts before he goes to being a reserve. HSR Gecko in the V-Carb last race for Red Bull Academy. He'll be moving over to Mercedes. Cryptic's last race in the Aston Martin before he becomes a McLaren driver. Tiro's racing as a reserve tonight in the Mercedes. You're in Maxwell G. We already mentioned this is his final race in Tier 1. And also right now, final race in that Ferrari Academy. Mally 41, he said he will not be racing Tier 3 for quite a while, let alone racing in general after this for quite a while, due to a work schedule that does compromise Tier 3. Remember, the way things go for Tier 3, the champion has to move up. This is how it used to be for Tier 2. And for Mally's case, this might be his last race for a while, with that being said. Red Fire Tiger, he will be staying with that academy. But it's nice to see him back in the Williams because he's been back and forth with Mercedes and Williams this entire season. FX7 Danny, he was in Tier 2 to start this Tier 1 season, which was last Tier 2 season. He's going to end off a Tier 1 season for the first time. Cookie in the Mercedes, last race before he's next to Gecko. Skither's last race in the Ferrari, he'll be moving to the Haas. Lots of different movements going on here. But we're about to start qualifying for one last time this season. It is Q1, and usually around the circuit, little to no rain. And I think we're going to see the same thing once again, and that would be correct. Also, one other thing to mention as well. FX7 Danny, by the way, tonight, in that Red Bull. He's usually a full-time V-Carb driver. That is why Beatnik is in the V-Carb. So those are just a few of our changes for tonight, including JTK as well in that McLaren, his final race. With them, again, 2 Alpines in here, 2 McLarens. Their final race is that Academy. And Leon says if Mally does not score points, he will dunk something in his tea. Well, we're not going to say what that is, but you could just read it for yourself in that Twitch chat. And if you want to go to our Twitch chat as well, folks, give us some predictions here for qualifying. Titan, it's been a chaotic season. I feel like in terms of the way things should have gone for this championship battle, we were looking at something similar to Season 6, I felt like, where Skither, who won the championship, didn't lead until the final few races. That's the way this season started in the first fourth of the way things were. Now, things did change. It was Jack, TB, and Skither who kind of pulled away. And obviously, Jack Miles won the championship far before this finale. McLaren did so as a constructor, too, when they started on the back foot. So, although we didn't have that race down to the wire like we've had before in the past, very few times in Tier 1 and a lot in Tier 2 and Tier 3, we still had a lot of storylines to talk about. Red Bull's 100th pole, Gecko returning to winning ways and pole, Egg with a first win, Florian with a first win, also a home pole and a home win at 2 different Italy races. There's just so much to talk about. Leo Lund winning in the Aston. Leo Lund won on track in the Williams at one point. There's definitely a lot we had. And Maxwell just destroyed the Bullard. But this season will definitely go down in the history books, no doubt about it, Titan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This season was probably a season of the ages, and I mean, let's not also forget all the changes that Leo has gone through. I mean, he was in Aston Martin for a couple of races, then switched to Williams, then he was in the Red Bull Academy racing in V Carb with a one-off with like a one or two chances in the Red Bull, and then also adding on furthermore, then he made the switch to being reserve with the Ferrari Academy. That I mean, he's been all over the place and all that sort of stuff. And let's not forget some of the crazy things that wound up happening. Reese losing his Tier 1 drive during the middle of the season for underperforming. He once again dropped down to Tier 2. Just like it was almost identical to how it was last game. A few seasons ago in Tier 1, but yeah, I mean, literally, this has just been a historical season for Season 12. And not gonna lie, I have a good feeling that Season 13 is probably gonna be producing the same amount of bangers that Season 12 was able to provide.
Yeah, Maxwell G was going to be the first car to cross the line and validated, so we're switching to HSR Gecko, who's had quite the up and down season. When he's raced in the Red Bull as a reserve for the team necessarily, as the full-time V-Carb driver, he did a lot better compared to when he was promoted to full-time action in that Red Bull. HSR Gecko is not the first one across the line, but he did cross the sector split right there as Tiro got the lap time in. He went fast as Tiro did. So we're watching HSR Gecko in the final sector with barely any battery to spare. He took a lot of curb on the inside, and this is kind of a section you want to be careful with doing that. Easy to slip up, easy to also go out of bounds. We saw that a lot during Tier 3 here, but Gecko is going to cross the line with one more corner to go, and he will be the third driver to cross, and he'll be fastest. Alex Norris also set in a time as well. He had a chance at a podium in Baku and Las Vegas, one for Ferrari, one of those chances came with Sauber as well in Vegas, which was quite the performance. Skither, third fastest only. Another driver who got back to his winning ways as well this season. Jack Miles, on the medium compound though, starting a lap. And for the sake of Alex Norris, it must be said, it was this circuit he won at in Tier 3 just 10 weeks ago. So, for his case, it's definitely an interesting tale to tell when we look back at how things were for Season 12 with Alex Norris. You got that Ferrari reserve drive in Baku. Was in contention for pole, was in contention for a podium. Seems like for Alex Norris, he's got a good future here with that being said, especially after that Las Vegas race. Brought Sauber back to Q3. Even though they did not have the season they would have wanted, it's the worst car. He's got a lot of things to be proud of, and he missed out on that Tier 3 championship. But for him, he basically skipped Tier 2, and that's how things went. Bourbon Boy also joined in as well. He's going to have to serve a qualifying ban in that Aston Martin. But we're watching Jack Miles now in the third sector.
Yeah, Jack currently going through navigating turns 10 through 13. 13, 14, and 15 is, well, just 13 and 14 are, as you mentioned, invalidations are kind of common here. But as he comes into the final corner, on the medium tire, it's going to be setting a precedented lap. 22.4 for him on the medium compound tires. So I think the other guys going under for the laps that they have, I think it's just basically like a fresh, basically like getting a grips of what's going on for them and just getting into the swing of things. More
Red
drivers
Fire Tigers on a lap, and for Red Fire, this season has definitely not been one he'll be happy to look back at. His stint in the Williams was not what it was last season, where he was making Q3 here and there, putting the car on the edges of the points. He had a race in Spain where he got points with George as well, but his highlight will probably be looked back at when he was in the Mercedes, reserving. So, of course, for the sake of Red Fire, he probably wants to end this one on a high note, and he'll use overtake here in that penultimate corner and cross the line now with barely any ERS to spare. What will it be like for Red Fire? Across the line, he will be the slowest of them all. FRC Knights also returned to the points once this season already. Got his first points finish in 20 races back at round 16, I believe it was. He's currently second slowest of them all who've set times. And Egg, another driver, also on that medium compound. And we'll be expecting to see that medium compound used quite a bit during the race. We saw it used in Tier 3 here, and definitely a variety of strategies were talked about in that race. Medium hard, hard medium. That was it. But the fact of the matter is we had a safety car. Egg getting loosey-goosey out of that final corner, but crossing second fastest. The Alpine of Mali puts it slowest. He's our brand new Tier 3 champion, by the way. Clinched it before Thursday night here. NRM KVS, his season has been filled with podiums, but no victory yet. Across the line, KVS, second fastest, 2 milliseconds separating the top.
Yeah, very much so on that, and more drive, and well, another driver that actually crossed was Blonde, but he had to refresh the battery after making a mistake earlier in the lap, so he has to try again. GTK almost went a little wide out of 14 into the last couple of corners to finish off his time, and he is going to come across and will go fast. This 22-1 for him.
JTK is another driver looking for that first career win, by the way. It was a front row start for Alpine in Mexico. JTK started the season on no line for that Ferrari Academy as well, and dropped down to Tier 2 for a short stint to see what he could do with no line. And it was too quick for the tiers, so they moved him up, and he's gone back to racing online. So JTK has definitely had a little season that could be identified as all over the place, really, for him. FX7 Danny is another driver who was down in Tier 2 at the start of this season, and right now he'll be crossing the line for Red Bull. His first start in a top car in Tier 1, by the way. We'll see what the British driver does. He's never won a race in RPL or even Tier 2. Crossing the line, fourth fastest. He's ahead of Egg. That's a good performance, although it's only Q1. McLaren 1-2, KVS and P3, and I believe that Alpine crossing was Mali once again. We're looking at his teammate F1 Shorts, who also was down in Tier 3 with Alex Norris. Didn't win a race there. Raced in F2 before F2 got shut down again. Almost won a race there, but didn't. Tier 2 had that collision with Mintoki and Zandvoort, and that was Shorts' only chance realistically to get a victory. But he got moved up after a few pole positions, and some of those poles were faster than Tier 1 times. It is F1 Shorts crossing now, and he will go 9th fastest. He is half a second faster than his teammate Mali 41.
Yeah, so that's actually a very nice lap by F1 Shorts, putting himself into that P9 spot and just working on some more improvements. And apparently, by the way, Skither, who lagged out a little bit ago, apparently, from what I was told, seeing in the driver's chat, Skither set purple sector 1 and purple sector 2 before getting booted out for a lag out.
We'll make sure we invite Skither back as well in the meantime.
Yeah, I sent him 2 already.
He's not online for me, so we'll see.
He had to restart his game.
So Cookie's qualifying ban that he had was cleared not too long ago, by the way. Either way, that's just a clarification on that misunderstanding. He will get to cross the line and do a lap. The last 4 seasons of racing in the finale, Red Bull have had 4 straight poles. Now, Cookie, who's not racing for Red Bull this time, who had pole here last season, will cross for 4th in Q1. We also have others behind on laps. I don't see Skither back in this session, but I do see Cryptic on a lap. Beatnik as well. Beatnik is first for the V-Carb. Made his Tier 1 return in Vegas, and he goes 12th fastest. So Beatnik once again, obviously finding the pace, but 5/10 off Gecko is not terrible considering the way he started this game cycle for him in the 3rd season of Tier 3 in Bahrain. That was Cryptic. Almost won a race this season in Spa, but no pole to his name still this game cycle. His last was Season 9 in Japan, and that was 70 races ago. Time is definitely ticking for Cryptic, but he'll have a chance next season in that McLaren. One more corner to navigate, and he'll cross the line now with 25% in that battery. Overtake on use, and he will go 2nd fastest.
And Cryptic going 2nd fastest is quite impressive on that one. And yeah, so Gecko and GTK calling it on their end. Blonde actually just retired on his end. which means he is definitely out. So we have 2 out. And just for clarification, you did say that Cookie's quality bag cleared?
Yes, that is what
Well, I'm looking at the race results. He got his
what Tiro and
quali ban in China after China, and he didn't race Vegas or Brazil, which means technically he never served it. He hasn't served it
Leola in
yet.
third fastest. Yeah, well, Jack put an X on Cookie having a qualifying ban, but
But
yeah,
I mean, in the unserved penalties, it's listed. So unless
I
Jack
think
made an owner decision to take it off because it's the final race, Cookie still has a quality ban attached to him.
I think Jack would have cleared it last week, because Cookie did try to join the session in Brazil, but it wouldn't let him take control. So I'm gonna have to guess if it was cleared because of an owner decision, it's not gonna be because it's the final race. That would be why it is.
Yeah.
I tried inviting Skither, but I can't. It won't let me.
I did. I took care of it.
All right, alrighty. So there you go.
But yeah,
FRC Knights, I think,
we
is
wanna have
backed
a
off
double
here,
check,
but
just
Leo
in
Lund.
case.
All right, well, Leo Lund went third fastest while we were talking about Cookie, and that was a good lap from Leo. In the Haas once again, trying to do it once again, giving them a podium. Couldn't do so last week after the storage room interfered with him. But I think everyone here that is probably 11th or higher looks to be safe right now from being eliminated. And I think Jack Miles is back out there. I can't tell if he's trying to help Mally or not. He is. Here you go. Mally 41 in that drop zone, being helped by Jack Miles with 4 minutes to go. Let's run on board with our brand new Tier 3 champion. A 10th up on the time in Sector 1 alone, and that's from the help of the slipstream, with Jack Miles pulling him along down this back straight, which the Mercedes driver Cookie, before this race, famously referred to as the Go F Yourself Boulevard. We'll see if the Alpine does have the straight line speed the Mercedes didn't have, and so far it looks to be so. Mally almost caught up to the back of Jack and almost rammed him right there, but everything is okay in that first chicane right there. Now down to the next braking zone here. Mally is up by 2.5 tenths, and if he nails this final sector, this could be good enough for him. Again, this is Alpine Academy's last race as an academy by itself with McLaren. Now, this section, a lot of curb to take, but you cannot have any moments where you go off on those curbs. Somehow, Mally kept it valid right there, and he used some overtake. He has enough battery to get away with it. 2 more corners to negotiate. One last corner, one last braking zone to the line, hold it to the left, and Mally 41 is 13th fastest. And look at that, the same time as F1 Shorts.
Nice. That's a solid lap right there. And Skither is coming back out onto the track, and definitely good idea for sure, because he is in the cusp right now. Because literally 14th to 16th is literally 500ths. That's how tight it is.
Can't wait to see Alex and Shorts again in one team, hopefully
well,
in the future. Both so good
Skither's
in slower
lagging
cars.
hard. He's lagging hard on my end.
Bound to end up in the same team in the future, in my honest opinion. Interesting take there in the Twitch chat. And you said Skither's lagging. I'll keep an eye on him in just a few moments' time. I don't see anything right here. Alright, well, we'll go with Maxwell then, since he's starting a final flying lap here, and what could be his final Tier 1 run for a little bit. 2 minutes to go. Maxwell approaching turn 1, and he's going to back off on this one quite early. Down in 5th gear right there. That's an interesting one. And I think Maxwell's backing off. He realized that this lap that he was going to try to set was not worth it.
Yeah, but I wonder if he's gonna have a chance. I wonder if he's gonna have a chance to come back around and just try again later on, or he's just accepting fate and just deciding to start off in 18th, being the slowest of the group right now. I mean, literally at the moment he's like 4 tenths behind Rev Fire, and as we mentioned earlier, Maxwell Not going to be in Tier 1 next season. He's dropped down to Tier... He's going to be dropped down to Tier 2. He was initially going to be in Tier 1 in the Williams, but after some talking around, we thought the new TP hierarchy in the Mercedes Academy, which was going to be Etsky, Wavy, and myself, we were thinking like, Max was starting to fall off a little bit. Maybe it'd be best for him to go to Tier 2, try to regain and find the missing mojo that he had in Tier 1 a few seasons ago. And when it got brought to Maxwell's attention, he agreed. He knew that something was not right, and he agreed that going down to Tier 2 would be the best option.
All right, Titan. Well, we've got laps right now. Skidder is finding time in that first sector. F1 Shorts was and then wasn't in the second sector. So we're going to see how everything does shape up here. Skidder, is he finding time in the second? Yes, he is. Purple right there in that second sector. We'll switch off of Skidder before he crosses the line. We're looking at FRC Knights, only down by 2 milliseconds. Beatnik is in that elimination zone and needs the time. Beatnik is finding the time right now. A 10th up. Checkered Fag is out. Here's Red Fire. 21 milliseconds. Up on the time. Now, look at Red Fire using all of the track right here before he goes to break.
Yeah, Skidder coming across the line to finish it off, and he goes up to 4th. Good stuff on his end. Who's next? Who is next? It'd be a Beatnik. Beatnik coming out of the final corner. Can he get himself out of the bottom 5? The answer is
yes.
And now Melly 41's at risk.
Yes, he is. FRC Knights needs the time. So does Red Fire. FRC Knights first, approaching the line. One last corner. And FRC Knights, little wiggle wobble, but is he going to get there? He improves, but he's not in. Red Fire's on a monstrous lap, up by 4/10, trying to get the Williams team out of Q1 one last time this season, and he might dispatch Malley. Barely any fuel remaining. Maxwell found time. Red Fire found time, and Malley 41 is out. Red Fire's in, Malley is out. And because F1 Short set that time first, it is the same exact time with 15th and 16th at the end there. The top 3, JTK, Cryptic, and Leo. But we're saying goodbye to 5. That is Malley, Knights, Maxwell, Blonde, and Bourbon. 5 different teams, 5 different drivers. 2 a qualifying ban, or 1 a qualifying ban.
And what's more wild is that literally first down to 17th. 0.94 the difference. That is incredible. This is why we love Tier 1.
Yes, one, not point, basically separating Shorts and Malley there. Malley, Knights, Maxwell, Blonde, Bourbon. Once again, the 5 we are saying goodbye to in that relegation zone. Q2 about to get underway in Abu Dhabi. And I must also give credit to Tier 1, that Mercedes too. It's only his 3rd or so Tier 1 start, and he's doing a really good job, it must be said. Especially for the struggles that car has around this circuit. Especially in the straight lines in that first 2 sectors.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna send you something in the Discord DM because I won't say it here because I'm not gonna get our channel in trouble. But you said some
no worries,
pretty silly.
We have cars coming out already. A Red Bull, a Mercedes, Ferrari. Both Red Bulls, and Aston Martin as well. Fair play to Red Fire. Alex getting their cars out of the drop zone.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
And I'm not joking. When you, I was like, wait a minute, is that what he just said? And I just heard it back. I'm like, yeah, he did.
F1 Shorts saying he's got a throttle issue, saying his throttle's not going 100%. But with that being said, that's a interesting way to get out of Q1 there. Even though he had the same exact lap time as Malley 41. I mean, Malley 41, by the way, did everything he could to get the slipstream with Jack. It's just the 1 millisecond that could have made the difference, and it didn't.
Yeah, it was quite the difference, honestly. I mean, what wildness out of that one. And And also, we also should note that in that top 10, for the top 10 in that group, Jack and Egg, they were fourth and ninth, and they set their Q1 best on the medium compound. That just shows the skill and Jude. Oh, big hit! That is a massive hit.
Beatnik and Cryptic.
Yep.
Incident between the pair of them. Beatnik with damage,
Yeah,
and Cryptic got away with it.
I think here's what happened, because Cryptic was following behind Egg, and then Egg slowed down. I think to let traffic through. Cryptic braked as well, but Beatnik I think was probably not paying attention and rammed into the back of him.
Tiro's had a moment down at turn 1. He's backed off on the lap there, but Leo Lund were watching, and that's why I missed it. Leo Lund was about to start a lap. Definitely very unfortunate for Beatnik, though, to get the grid penalty. Leo Lund now in Sector 2. Leo Lund trying to use all the curb possible here, just hugging it, doing the best he can to find the time and maximize the straight line speed loss for this Haas. 20% battery already. 52.7 is what he's doing when he crosses the sector split. He's also got a Ferrari behind him. Whether that's Skither or KVS, they will be getting that little extra toe along the circuit. Leo Lund, you could just see how much he's maximizing the racetrack, using every single line possible, having a massive, massive moment there under the bridge and under the hotel section here in the final sector. 8%, 10% on that battery. He'll use some overtake to cross the line. Leo Lund, the benchmark, 22.9. The Ferrari is next. That's NRM KVS, 22.6. He's still looking for a first pole. Got another front row as well this season. Jack Miles on a lap, Shorts on a lap, Skither on a lap. And Skither, who's lagging majorly right there, almost at the back of the Aston. Egg crossing the line, and he'll go fastest. 22.2 now. And Skither's definitely going to have to get that lag situation sorted. JTK has a moment there, down at the chicane. And he does keep going, I believe. Yes, he does. Jack will cross first of the McLarens, by the way.
Yeah, Jack coming out of the front corner. But yeah, GTK's case, if you have a little moments and you need to just think like, I'll just hammer down and maybe improve on the next run, or perhaps, who knows. But Jack, top of the board with a 22-0. Let's see what GTK is going to have on hand. Cookie comes out of the final corner now to finish his time lap. Let's see what it is on the board. And it's a 23.8, slowest of the group for the Mercedes. JK, despite that moment, sits P7 with a 27.0, just ahead of Danny.
So Beatnik said, I was not expecting you to stop right in front of me, Cryptic, but Cryptic said he also got a 5th place from that. So
Did he?
Both getting 5 places.
Here, let me look.
Nope, no, I did.
Oh yeah, he did. Oh shit. Oh rip.
Beatnik back out there after the damage got repaired. Tiro's on a lap now, and he'll cross the line after his moment he had at turn 1. No moment this time. He has a lot of battery to spare as well. He'll cross and still remain slowest. Mercedes are down there in 10th and 11th right now. And although Mercedes are the ones down and out of things currently as things stand, it's F1 Shorts the nice surprise here on the medium compound, 4th fastest. And I think that is definitely a difference on who's got used tires and who's got new tires. We're starting some laps. Redfire Tiger is approaching turn 1 now. I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, Redfire coming out of turn 1, up through the gears, just flat out through 2, 3, and 4. Getting up to high revs of 7th gear, into the heavy braking zone of the hairpin, where Verstappen claimed the 2021 title out of 5. Down the long DRS, first DRS zone, up through the gears, up to the max gear. Let's see what kind of speed he's going to get into the braking zone. Speed trap about 201 in the heavy braking zone. The chicane of 6 and 7, sorry, through 8 into the next DRS zone, flying his way down, and heading towards the Abu Dhabi spoon of turn 9. There's a 53-0 in that second sector split.
Red Fire using some battery here before approaching the first braking zone of Sector 3. Here he goes, hard on the brakes. A little lock up there from the Frenchman. A little loosey-goosey moment there on the power as well. Red Fire trying to keep it in balance. He is currently. And now 2 more corners to navigate. This is where in the Tier 2 race, although it didn't count, Night Owl went for an audacious set on George. And right now, it's an audacious moment for Red Fire off the road. He's not going to get the lap time in. Beatnik will, though. He'll cross, and he goes ahead of both Mercedes right now in 10th. And that's right on the cusp with where things stand. Cryptic's on a lap, 17.5, and he was the other one on the other end of the Beatnik and Cryptic collision. He's back on the track. He's back on a lap. DRS applied down this back straight, and as you said it, this was where the whole Verstappen and Hamilton stuff happened, but this is also where it happened on lap 1 right here, in this chicane. Cryptic's got 48% on that battery. Now, this is a tricky section. 3rd gear you want to be in, and you got to be very careful when trying to put down the power. This is right where you want to hug that white line. Hopefully no bumps are there like there was on 23, but regardless, 52.4 from Cryptic, and he's going to send it into the Abu Dhabi Parabolica section. You said Abu Dhabi spoon section, but it's also a Parabolica as well. Now, the triple right, and then you brake. Very heavy, and not much ERS left from Cryptic, but he will get away with just putting that battery on, exiting the final corner once again.
And Cryptic just coming out for the last couple of corners now to finish off his time lap. Looks pretty solid. It's going to be in the high 20, mid 22s. And yeah, 3rd fastest actually. 22.3 for him. And you know what? Just for a little fun. But yeah, those that are watching and listening in and live and watching this live, put in the chat, which do you guys prefer? Abu Dhabi Spoon or Abu Dhabi Parabolica? Let's hear your thoughts on that.
HSR Gecko's going quite quick in the 2nd sector, and that's a nice surprise considering the V-Carb is one of the slowest cars in a straight line. Now, the final sector where this V-Carb is going to outpower the Haas. There's a lot of talk in terms of this game cycle, whether you would say the V-Carb has definitely a bigger edge over the Haas or not, but ooh, Gecko has a major moment losing the rear right there. I was going to say the V-Carb in corners like those is basically a cheat code. Now, out of the final corner, HSR Gecko moves up to 6th, while Leo Lund went fastest. Cookie's on a lap, Tiro's on a lap. So both Mercedes trying to get out of the drop zone. Cookie's up by 1/10.5 in that 1st sector, and Tiro didn't make a mess of turn 1 this time. He'll keep going. We'll switch to FX7 Danny, who's starting to cross. I want to mention his ERS. Below 90% already. Not where you want to be. And JTK, not where you want to be in terms of track limits. He invalidated. Cryptic is on an in-lap. KVS is on a lap. No, he's backed off. Leo Lund's backed off. So we're switching to Cookie then, who's going to cross the 2nd sector split. And look at that battery already. 30%. This is how much you can serve in that final sector, even with running hot lap. 7/10 from Cookie. But I gotta think, you have to find more here if you want to safely make it through into Q3.
Yeah, no doubt about that. It's anything is possible in regards to Q2. I mean, we saw how tight Q1 was in regards to the timing. It's going to be even tighter in regard. It could be even tighter coming up for it. Danny gets a little help from, I believe that's the slow car Gecko. Yes, it was.
Yep.
Got a little help there. And
third.
This time to spit. Yeah, could get to 3rd. Lovely stuff.
Tiro's next, and we'll look at Danny soon as well, since you mentioned Danny. But that does put Danny in the bubble. Tiro, is he finding time in the Mercedes? Oh, he almost went off the circuit, but he did find time. 8th fastest from Tiro. Remember, Tiro last week had to retire from the race for a very strange reason we'll talk about in a moment. FX7 Danny's now 3rd.
Nice.
It's a good lap from Danny. Gecko was the one to give him the toe, as you were saying, but Tiro, yeah, he had quite the week last week. Last week in Brazil, he was the only retirement, and he had to pick his sister up from a nightclub. That is why he had to retire. Now, I mean, if you want to ask people about weird reasons to retire, you could ask Bourbon Boy on another one, but that's definitely been probably the weirdest in terms of this game cycle. By the way, Skither and Red Fire, 2 drivers not to have a lap. Skither's not been on the track. He is now, and Red Fire invalidated on that 1st go. Hopefully this 2nd go for Red Fire is a lot more cleaner. Fair play FX7 Danny, by the way.
Yeah, very nice play there. I mean, to be about a tenth and a half off of Leo Lund at the moment is actually a solid run. Not gonna lie there, and we'll be seeing some laps going a little faster in regards to that. Well, 0-2 drivers yet to set a lap at this present moment. That is currently Redfire and Skither. Redfire, unfortunately, getting the ding treatment, getting stuck with a lot of invalidations. Skither having some lagging problems, but hopefully he's got it recalibrated and fixed up, and may not be running into it moving forward. KVS, the fifth place guy, calling it quits for Q2, and no doubt, I believe he should be fine. And I mean, it's really wild. I'm just taking a look at it. 3/4 of a second separates the entire top 10. Basically, 3/4 of a second.
Skither facing elimination right now, needs the lap, and he's on a lap right now. Turn 2, 3, and 4 flat out here, but it's so easy to spin, whether it's setup related, curb related, or car related. 17.4 in that first sector, heavy braking for turn 5 now. He'll approach the first DRS straight, a little wiggle from Skither, but despite the error, he's still going to finish the lap. ERS on use until he hits 7th gear. Now, heavy braking here. You want to brake at 150, 100, or 50? Well, the problem is, if you're racing with no line, you're not really going to see that. You're going to have to go based off the racing line right there, because someone took out the bullards. DRS now applied, rear wing open once again, and he'll approach the final sector in a few moments' time. What's the sector split looking like for Skither? 52-3. That is an immense lap that we're watching from Skither, but he can't have a mistake. He's going wide right here, but he's just using all the track, it seems to be. So whether it's a mistake or not, he definitely used all the track. Now, more heavy braking down here. He's on medium compared to other drivers being in hot lap in this section. I'm sure they'll use some ERS right out of here, but a little wiggle wobble from the car keeps him still in the track limits. Now, lots of ERS for the penultimate corner, and now the final corner. Crossing the line is Skither. Can he go to the top once again? The answer, no, but he is 6th fastest, and right now that's safely through. Whoa, oh, Cryptic with a purple final sector and goes 2nd fastest.
Very nice run out of there. 29.575 on his end. That is 15 thousandths. Oh, sorry, that's not 15 thousandths. That's over 4/10 faster than Leo's final sector.
Beatnik is up in the first sector right now, and he needs a lap really badly. He's got a Mercedes in front of him. Don't know if that's Cookie or Tiro, but they are coming to the assist of Beatnik. Gecko, by the way, was down 20 thousandths in that first sector, and Egg did find the time. He's 5th fastest. KVS, who retired in 7th, by the way, thinking he's safe, might still be at risk. We'll keep an eye on that in a few months' time when we get to the checkered flag in 25 seconds. Beatnik using battery right here before he approaches the final sector. That Mercedes is helping him, and now pulling out the way. 4/10 the difference in terms of the improvements in that second sector. Now, overtake on use before he gets to the final braking zone for the winner in yesterday's Tier 2 race. Cross the line. The first driver will be Beatnik. Cookie not making it as you said, but he did help Beatnik, excuse me, Cookie did. Beatnik, one more corner to go, and he uses all the curb. He'll cross the line and only be 12. Not enough for Beatnik. Cookie obviously crossing right there with his AI car. Egg, Skither, back to the pit lane they go. Cryptic, I think, going to do the same. And we're now looking at GTK, who also needs the time, and he's got an Alpine following suit. I believe that's F1 Shorts, and it is. He also needs the time. Checkered flag, like we said a few moments ago. The top 8 already have their laps in, so we're looking at everyone below them who need the lap very desperately. How does JTK respond to what could be a Q2 exit? He goes up to 5th, Shorts is 10th, Gecko right now is out. We're looking at the next car of Tiro to cross, and he's 2/10 up. But if he wants to go through, he's going to need to find more time. Tiro, in his 3rd Tier 1 start, crossing now, and he's not going to find the time. Gecko's backed off, and also Red Fire only went up to 14th. Alex Norris still might not be the slowest after this run when he crosses the line, and Alex Norris is 13th. Only a few hundredths behind a Mercedes. But We're eliminating Gecko, Tiro, Alex, Beatnik, and Red Fire. 2 V-Carbs, 1 Mercedes, a Sauber, and a Williams. At the top, Leo Lund once again for Haas.
Yeah, kind of crazy to see Tiro out in that Mercedes. I mean, that's basically like some of the situations that happened to Lewis Hamilton in qualifying last year. But it is unfortunate. But it is possible that Tiro could just carve and navigate his way through the field, even though starting in 12th, he could be looking at get some points. You never know.
Short's kind of confused on why he's 10th place, but he is through into the final round of qualifying for the second time in his 3rd start. Well, we're going to Q3, and I believe after this we will be restarting for the sake of Cryptic and Beatnik's grid penalties. Either way. Here are your results from Q2. We already told you the 5 eliminated, but I want to tell you what we're looking at in Q3. 1 Mercedes, 1 Alpine, 2 Ferraris, 2 McLarens, 2 Red Bulls, 1 Aston, and 1 Haas driver. And this will be the final qualifying session of Season 12 and F1 24. You needed a lap that was 4/10 off the top of the charts to get into Q3. Top 12 within 5/10, Short says. Yeah, that's a fair point to raise. Well, Red Fire's not happy with Academy teammate Tiro. He says, dive bomb me in a fast hairpin and gave me front wing damage too. So stupid, honestly. Well, interesting enough, that was not a grid penalty, but the Cryptic and Beatnik collision was. So, F1 24. Well, some drivers will be happy to say goodbye to it after tonight. And if you have any predictions, folks, whether you're a commentator, viewer, race engineer, driver, you name it, give us some predictions in the Twitch chat. Yeah, Goatly, I do think every driver is fed up with this game anyway. Some maybe not, but yeah. Just look at the Tier 2 attendance the last few weeks, and that'll tell you how fed up people are. Egg, yeah. He's had a pole this season. He got the 100th pole for Red Bull. Cryptic hasn't had a pole since Season 9 Japan. Cookie's last pole was this race last season, 20 races ago. Leo Lund could give Haas their best start. That'd be P1. You tie it with P2. He's had many poles this season. It's crazy the amount of poles different drivers have had this season. I believe Leo's going to end off with the most. I think the only driver who could say something about it might be Skither, but I doubt it. JTK's had 3 front row starts to his name before, looking for that first pole. FX7 Danny has never even qualified inside the top 5 in a Tier 1 race. Could do so tonight. He's got the Red Bull tax there. Skither's had pole for the last 3 weeks. Looking for yet another one as the all-time pole leader. NRM KVS, 2 front row starts to his name, 1 this season. F1 Shorts, his best start came in Vegas a few weeks ago. And Jack Miles. Last pole, this race, 4 seasons ago. And we're going to watch Jack Miles, who seems to be the master of Abu Dhabi. 1 here in Formula Endurance, 1 here before in F2, 1 here before in F1 the last 3 times. He's going to be the second one across the line of our drivers on the benchmark for our final flying laps. And in terms of our final flying laps, we'll get that later, but this is the start of them. And Jack Miles, 17.444 to cross that sector split. You want to know a fun fact since we're talking about times right now? The finish here in Season 8 of Formula 2 with Abu Dhabi that Jack Miles won over VCRL Vettel was separated by 0.000. Yes, I'm not even joking. That was the margin of victory with Jack Miles and his competitor of Vettel. It was decided by track limit penalties. Jack Miles didn't have anything. And again, we see that from Jack Miles. But right now, Jack Miles using a bit of battery, entering the final sector. 52.2 is the time right now that he's setting. Of course, Cryptic in front of him will be the first to set a lap, but Jack Miles is a few seconds back. We'll be crossing after that. A little bit of overtake right there, and now switching it to medium here for this final few sections. Cryptic, you saw right there at the Bullard. We'll see if he kept the lap valid or not in a few moments' time, but Jack Miles seems to be mastering this in the last sector. 2 more corners to go for a Miles masterclass potentially. Cross line is cryptic. He didn't keep it valid. Jack did though. 21.9 is the time to beat there. We're looking at JTK next in the McLaren, and almost a collision there between the Ferrari and the Mercedes in the background. JTK crossing, and Skither, who's got the Mercedes and Cookie hounding him already. JTK goes to provisional pole. Cookie only was 3rd, Skither 4th, and now Egg to the front row. Does anyone disrupt that? NRM KVS is 4th, and not far off front row either. F1 Shorts on the mediums here on a lap, and he'll cross to be the slowest. Now we're looking at FX7 Danny, who could deliver his best qualifying tonight. And he's a driver who didn't win in Tier 2 and didn't have a pole in Tier 2. Across the line for FX7 Danny, is it near his teammate Egg? It's close in terms of the places, but not necessarily the time.
Now time gets about 4 quarter tenths between Danny and Egg, but you still got to give fair credit to Danny for putting in a good solid lap in the Red Bull. It's quite representable on his end, to be fair.
Cryptic, I think he's backed off here. He was going to try to finish a lap, but that's not going to be the case. On our first go, JTK on provisional pole. The Dutchman is looking at his first Tier 1 pole tonight. And you know what? It has to be said. In that Season 11 finale of Tier 2, he was on pole. That was in Las Vegas. In the Tier 2 finale and their end of the game cycle last time on F123, Season 12 of Tier 2, he was on pole in Japan, but didn't really get to take control of his car at the lights out. He lagged out. Season 13 in Brazil, he was also on pole then. So whether it's JTK or Jack in terms of a finale here, it seems to appear that both McLaren drivers have a lot of momentum in this sense. Leo Lund is going to start a lap. I'll let you take this one, Titan. But Jack Miles, if he were to get a pole this season or another front row start this season, this might be the circuit to do so. Hasn't had a pole since Season 8 of this race 4 seasons ago. Leo Lund, turn 2, 3, 4 now. And what will the Haas driver do now becomes the question.
Yeah, it does become the question of what is going to be on hand here. 17.3 to kick off that first sector into the heavy braking zone, and that 17.3 is about an eighth of a second behind GTK down the DRS zone, heading into the speed trap. 203 as he heads into the braking zone and drops down to 3rd gear, shifts up into 4th off the exit of the chicane, heading down DRS zone number 2. Let's see what kind of a run he's going to have here. And as he comes across, it is a 52.1, which is just a smidge behind GTK at this moment at the Sector 2 split.
Haas seem to have had the qualifying car this game cycle, but their race pace does drop off. Leo Lund having a moment right there and keeping it going. Holy cow, Leo Lund. Penultimate corner he approaches, final corner he navigates, this time by. Look at him just send it in there, almost a slide, and Leo Lund is 5th in the Haas. Less than 2 tenths separating that top 5 now. Leo Lund with a lot of moments on that lap, and still trying to find it out.
Man, oh man. That was just wild, wild, wild. You gotta love that.
Yes, you do. Leo Lund, by the way, also took V-Carb's first pole this season as well. It has to be mentioned. Jack Miles is going to start a lap here soon as well. His last pole, in terms of races, came 86 rounds ago.
He's come close so many times, but just gets upended right at the end. But I wonder, can he end that drought? We'll find out.
By the way, to correct myself earlier, Leo Lund 6 poles this season, Skither 5. So if Skither does get a pole tonight, he would end up tying Leo's most for this season, and Leo's trying to hold that right now and maybe extend it. Jack Miles on a lap once again, and he's going to go entering turn 5 with a smidge of an improvement. 24 milliseconds right there from the Welsh Wizard. Overtake button on use. Rear wing open. Now, remember, this is McLaren/Alpine Academy's last race as an academy. They'll be merging with the Mercedes Academy next game, next season. So they would love to go out and deliver a pole for one final time here. Jack Miles using some battery, DRS applied once more, and what will the time be in terms of how he responds with some improvements? Jack Miles is up a lot. Jack Miles is up a 10.5, and he's looking to take a first pole since Season 8 of Abu Dhabi, but he's got to manage his battery because he can use overtake and still find even more time to defend that pole position. Battering over the curbs here in the final sector, using all the race surface and track possible to him. One more corner to navigate for Jack. He's not at a pole in 86 rounds this race 4 seasons ago. Jack Miles back on pole! 21.5. Now the question becomes, can anyone deny Jack Miles? NRM KVS is up by 57 milliseconds, and we're not even on our final runs yet.
That was an absolute barn burner of a lap by Jack there. But yeah, can anyone fight against it? Whoa, that was close.
NRM KVS with a big slide right there, but he'll finish the lap anyway. One more corner to go for the driver from Finland. Across the line, no pole this season, but 100th off JTK. We're looking at Skither, who's coming next, and Skither's going to start a lap. But guess who's on a lap? F1 Shorts, the other Dutchman. Two Dutch drivers in that McLaren/Alpine Academy tonight, and the youngest one in that Alpine.
Yeah, let's see what we got. It's quarter of a second up for F1 Shorts after that first sector. And he's going to go even quicker. There's some help. That's either GTK or Jack up ahead. I think that was GTK giving him some help there, but he goes up a further 10th. But let's see what happens in the final sector. I think this is where he's going to really need to stamp on the gas and get a strong run here. Through hotel bridge section, keep it cool, keep it collected, nice and easy exiting there. Through the final couple of corners, what kind of a lap can he get? The answer is, well, not much. Goes up to 8th.
F1 Shorts, slight improvement, not enough right there. Skither crossing, now. 1 minute to go, and Skither, will he get pole? He just misses out. He's behind Jack Miles. JTK's down in the first sector by 14 milliseconds. And now Cookie, is he going to find time to cross the line and improve? He does. He's third fastest. That first sector, or that first run with the final sector was awful from him, but he found the time there on the last go. Our next one across is going to be Egg, who invalidates. And this is going to be it from Egg. His best is going to be 6th here. I don't think he could do any better. And probably won't fall any places unless Danny or Cryptic has anything to say about it. Same with Leo Lund, who still is to go. And right now, I believe that's JTK getting towed along. Is Cryptic finding time in the sector here compared to his invalidator run 52.1. That's pretty good, actually. And JTK is up by 2.5 tenths. He could deny Jack Miles of returning back to pole for the first time since this race. 4 seasons ago, JTK has had 3 front row starts before and season finale poles in Tier 2, but never a pole sitter in Tier 1. The Rockstar, one more corner to go. The Flying Dutchman tonight goes on to pole for the first time. JTK makes it a McLaren front row lockout, and Cryptic goes to 3rd. Leo Lund couldn't find time. It is, for the first time, JTK on pole in RPL Tier 1. JTK, who we called the Rockstar time and time again, put in the lap, and he deserves to be called the Flying Dutchman for that lap. In McLaren/Alpine Academy's final race, it is a front row lockout. Jack with his front row start once again this season.
Very, very great lap by JTK. And Jack's had to wait again to look for a pole position. But, I mean, what a lap. And literally, if you had to look at the gap between GTK all the way down to Leo Lund. 0.55 is the difference. Very tight. Gotta love it.
JTK making it a McLaren front row lockout and his first pole in RPL Tier 1. Cryptic in third, not a bad effort there at all. Jack Miles, another front row, and best start of the season, equaling that. Skither up there, Cookie up there. Holy cow. Here are your final results from Q3 and final qualifying session of the season. JTK, as you can see it, silencing those doubters. KVS in 6th, Egg 7th, Leo Lund 8th for Haas. Danny in 9th, and F1 Shorts the slowest of them in Q3. JTK delivering his first pole and delivering McLaren a nice send-off from the McLaren/Alpine Academy. Jack in 2nd, another front row start for Jack, but no pole this season. Either way, folks, just remember we are restarting the lobby here for those grid pens.
Right, because Cryptic has to go back to 3rd, and Beatnik has to go
14th.
to 14th, yeah.
Yes, that would be correct. Does give us time to give us some predictions, in fact, though. We had a lot of people say JTK on pole in terms of predictions, so a lot of people right with that one. However, I must say Jack Miles, who's usually not a qualifying master, put in the lap to go only 2nd. Definitely would have loved his first pole in a very, very long time there. Remember as well, we will have formation lap on when we do start the event as well, but just right now, drivers just getting in their practice starts, and we'll be getting our final restart as well of F124 with that being said. What a game cycle this has been. A lot of action provided, a lot of crazy moments, just a little bit of everything, it's safe to say.
Just everyone screwing around, having some fun.
Yeah, why not before the lobby gets restarted, you know?
Well, I mean, to be fair, I think Jack is basically asking is just crash into people, force everyone to like get the DQs and all that fun stuff that we could like redo and all that sort of stuff. Looks like 6 people left, so they just gotta crash into each other.
Yeah. McLaren 1-2, by the way.
Oh, just bring on Rev Fire. And then we can
I believe he's just going to try to get to the line as fast as he can, because he'll only be disqualified if he's too slow on the formation lap. What are we expecting for the race start, by the way? We're obviously going to get, in terms of tires, medium, hard, hard, medium. I don't think we'll see anyone touch the soft tire. There's no way.
Nah. There we go.
Alrighty, time to restart the lobby. I must say, this is actually a nice view that we had, but I don't think we'll get that for the start either way when we do restart the event.
Yeah.
But, yes. Yeah, so Titan, what do you expect for the start to happen here? Obviously medium, hard, hard, medium, that's going to be our strategy. Nothing, no one's going to touch the softs unless there's a safety car.
I'm not sure what we'll be expecting. Probably just some stuff as things go on. Just fighting and battling towards the turn 4, maybe a couple of crashes before turn 4. Well, let's wait and see.
Yeah. Well, we have had calamity here in the past, no doubt about it. And I would not be surprised to see the same thing happen again. Really, I believe we're just waiting on FX7 Danny, and there we go. So, yeah, of course, lobby restart as we know it, but... Yeah, I'm trying to think of previous times we've had some chaos on the opening lap. By the way, that McLaren pole from JTK is the first finale pole in the top 2 tiers in a finale for the first time since Corey Marshall did it in Season 3 here. Now everyone is going to need to press that A button very quickly.
Yep.
But yeah, with that being said, I'm interested to see how the start's going to go. I mean, we had in real life Piastri and Verstappen go off. I think JTK and Jack really just have to work together here. If they don't, it's going to open up the door for the others to get involved. Cryptic, I actually think in this sense, take the Aston Martin's trailing speed out of things. I think this pace is immense. And he's proving he deserves the McLaren next game right now at this pace. It's not a lot, but he needs to keep it up. Just needs to prove that race pace is worthy of putting him in that McLaren. He's had qualifying pace from time and time again. 1 win to Cryptic's name, 7 poles, no win from pole. So it's going to be a tough task for Cryptic tonight to do that. But yeah, I think for Cryptic's case here, if he can just stay within the McLaren's range, he's in a good shout here for a second podium in the season, maybe a first win on the season. Be a first win since Season 6 Spa as well. And again, Cookie and Skither, who are lurking there in the background, 4th and 5th. If this ends up being a win for either one of them, it will be the first weekend this game cycle, and maybe ever, that we have all US drivers on the top step of the podium. And all different ones with that being said. So it shall be interesting to see if one of them do win, what that will be like. Don't forget Beatnik in that V-Carb is a US driver, but again, very unlikely chance for a V-Carb to win here in Tier 1. It hasn't happened since Season 1 Baku, and it looked like at some points this season it could have happened. Leo Lund in that car. Gecko led that race in Saudi Arabia as well, so a lot of moments tonight we'll be reflecting on for sure from this game cycle and Tier 1 Season 12. Once the grid is set, by the way, we will be starting the event. But yeah, I really do think McLaren 1-2, they're kind of in control on the start here. I don't really see any other way that things do separate itself. Besides a safety car, obviously we had some safety cars in the Tier 3 race. It changed the outcome for sure. Cookie and Skither just have to maintain some good race pace. That Ferrari, this game cycle, known for an unstable rear. Cookie, definitely not getting a pole this season was a downside, especially with his qualifying pace, but he put a Ferrari in the front row, he put a Mercedes in the front row. He's had a lot to reflect on in terms of qualifying, but not had the races. Only Portugal, with that return to the podium, he'll be happy to look back on and say, that was my successful moment from this season. And maybe he can have something come up tonight. You just don't know what could happen, but I think as long as Cookie and Skither get a good start here, work together, I think they can disrupt this McLaren fight. Cryptic's a possible one. I don't know about Leo Lund and that Haas, though. That Haas does fall off a little bit in the race around here, and only time will tell. We're readying up here for what will be our final time here on F124 and this Tier 1 season. Any predictions, chat? Tell us what you think.
Yeah, I just actually thought of it. Just a bit of a YouTube idea. maybe for this game, probably would be a bit of a long one for you. Maybe do like maybe like a highlights of the game cycle for all the seasons that we've had. Be quite a bit of a long video. Maybe might have to put it in a
Well,
couple of parts.
I will tell you right now, tomorrow we're getting a video, and that will be in terms of our send-off for Alpine slash McLaren Academy. This is their final race as an academy. Again, next game cycle, Alpine and McLaren will be joining Mercedes. Aston will be departing from Mercedes to go be a part of the Red Bull Academy. So we'll see how things are there. With that being said, a lot of drivers having their final races in teams, as we said it before. Jack Miles will be moving to Ferrari. Ederim KVS will be moving out of Ferrari. Beatnik will be moving to the Mercedes camp. F1 Shorts back to being a reserve. Gecko to Mercedes. Cryptic to McLaren. Maxwell to Tier 2. There's a lot of names to talk about in terms of switching gears. With that being said, again, we'll be getting a formation lap here soon. Drivers making last-minute adjustments. Don't forget your setup, of course.
Yeah, you'd be screwed
Tire
without 'em.
strategies. Yes, you would. This game has been a lot worse, with that being said, in terms of the setups without him. Mally 41 having his last race for quite a bit of time, it seems. Tier 3 champion, by the way. Bourbon Boy, remember, he's reserving. He didn't get to qualify. Leo Lund will be probably a reserve again. Blonde reserving for Williams. Lots of things to look forward to, that is for sure. Skither's last race with Ferrari before he goes to being a Haas driver. Didn't expect to say that based on his performance this season. Either way, here is your grid once again. JTK, Jack, Cryptic, Skither, Cookie, KVS, Egg, Leo, Danny, Short, the top 10. Then you have Gecko, Tiro, Alex, Beatnik in 14th. Redfire, Mally, Knights, Maxwell, Blonde, and Bourbon making up the last row of the grid. Either way, let's give you the tires here. Nobody, to no surprise, on that soft compound tire. But Cookie the only one inside that top 11 spot on the medium compound. That will be interesting. He'll hopefully be hoping an early safety car will come his way. If not, you will have the hard runners be on the medium tire at the end. But at the back of this field, Tiro, Alex, Beatnik, Mally, Knights, Maxwell, and Bourbon on the medium compound. Redfire and Blonde, the only drivers outside of that top 11 on that hard compound. Again, Titan, this is expected to be a medium hard, so no surprise with that being said, but Cookie's going to need a good start here, no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt about it. And I actually want to spoil one little thing because I see Tiro just off in the background, off in the way back. Just want to know if you, for the guys further back, if they like go far away and just think, oh, well, that means that the cars up front will have to be sitting for a long while and they will have cold tires. Well, on this game, there's no such thing as cold tires. Whatever the temp is. So, like, if GTK has perfectly good warm tires when he gets to this grid spot, it's locked in. He's locked into it. So, yeah, I figured I might as well spoil that, but I'm not sure if that'll happen next game.
All right, one last time, folks. One more time on F124. It'll be a nice little send-off, that is for sure. We're just waiting for the 5 red lights for our last time in Season 12 and our last time on F124.
I think the lobby broke.
We'll find out. There are some people not in control, I see. Just looking through here. I think we had to DQ people from the formation lap first, right? I think that's what it had to do. Green flag is waving in the background, by the way. Just waiting on those lights. We're waiting 30 seconds, and then if it's still bugged, then we'll restart. So that is what Jack has clarified.
Well, apparently Maui 41 does not
That's
have
correct.
a setup on, and it bugged and won't do it.
There you go. Alrighty. Hopefully not another restart. I have things to do after this. But if there is, hopefully everyone does end up getting this done quickly. I'm just going to take a picture of the grid one last time here. And Will's going to try to maybe leave and see if it is on his end here. Here we go. One last time on F124. One last time for Season 12. We're just waiting on 2 drivers, and then we'll get these 5 red lights going.
It's Will and Beatnik. That's who we're waiting on.
Well, if Will needs an invite back, you're going to have to send him one. Here's the grid, folks, one last time here for Season 12 in our final race in Abu Dhabi.
Will using TP-Link printer internet.
By the way, folks, if you missed the pre-show as well, this will also be my last time commentating in RPL as well, and in general. Let's hopefully make it a good one, and hopefully Will can get back in here so we can get things going. Alrighty, let's see if he's gonna need an invite. It says he's in multiplayer, Abu Dhabi. Invite to game.
He hasn't
Let's try
left
that
yet.
one more time.
He hasn't left the session yet.
I thought he did.
No, he didn't.
If he ends up restarting his Xbox that way, then he won't be retired, I think. Because that's how I avoided it in Qatar.
We are restarting.
Oh boy. Alright, there we go.
Well, we're restarting, and I guess then I guess don't invite Will back. I guess he refused to leave because he wanted to force a restart so he can get a setup.
Red flag! That kind of felt funny to say. One last time. Red flag! Well, you did get one from the game, at least. That was interesting. Remember, red flags are on, so there you
Uh,
I would love to try and leave this session, except it's not letting me.
before this whole before all things get worked on and all that stuff, I wound up missing it. But how did Tier 2 go yesterday?
Well, it was Jeddah. Red Bull won the Constructors. And Beatnik won the race.
There you go.
You had Reese, Night Owl, and a majority of the bunch stay out under our first safety car and only safety car. Some felt like it was the better option. Some kind of realized it wasn't. And Beatnik was one of those who decided to pit. And there you go. That's kind of how that happened. Josh won this race on track. Josh 433. And, well, he had a penalty. 3 second, and that cost him.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I guess we'll just have to wait until we get our invites back to the lobby, and then we'll have our fun.
Absolutely. Just want to go over a few things as well since we have the time to do so. First time winners this season, Egg and Florian. First time pole sitters this season, Florian and JTK. And George Alp Williams, who was on the podium in Vegas, and Willow, who was on the podium in Brazil, are only two first time podium sitters of season 12.
Oh, Gecko's in the lobby. I'll see if I can get off of him. There we go. Whoops.
Also, as well, this season or actually, I should go over the game cycle as well. This game cycle, the only track that we had a chance to run that we didn't was Monaco. That was last ran in season 10. This game cycle, we had 20 finishers in a race that was at Monza at the finish. We had a ton of races with all classified. Some drivers did retire at the end, of course, but I mean, you know, there were times where we had all drivers finish, but not all 20 raced. So it was like 18 or 19. We had the closest finish in Tier 1 in Season 11 Baku between Jack and Cookie, 51 milliseconds by the finish. We had race 225 on the F124 game cycle.
Leo,
Leo,
I would invite you, but the problem is you're not appearing on my end.
Let's try to get Leo Lund in here.
I have him added, but he's not online for me.
The same could be said for me. So who are we missing from the lobby? Let's see. We're missing Skitter.
Yeah, I just sent an invite to him.
And Leo Lund.
Let's together now.
We saw you, Tiro. We saw you. Let's give Beatnik one as well. Lots of final races for academies, lots of final races for teams, lots of final races in this tier for drivers. Lots of changes for next season as well. For the fun of it, let's go over, before we get ready up, some nationalities in this lobby. KVS, the only Finnish driver. British and Welsh drivers, Egg, Jack, Gecko, Borbin, Mally, Danny, Blonde, Knights, Alex, Tiro. Swedish drivers, Leo and Maxwell. American drivers, Beatnik, Skidder, and Cookie. Frenchman, Redfire. Dutch driver, JTK in shorts. And Cryptic, our only Polish driver in the field. We'll be running up soon once the grid order gets sorted. But maybe no formation lap this time, I'm gonna guess. Hopefully Jack Miles does let us know.
Yeah, I would probably have it turned off, because I think what probably happened was Mally 41 did leave right at the end of Q3, and then he came back he came back at the end of Q3 was what it was. He came back, and then the formation lap worked fine, and then it fixed. So maybe it got maybe because it didn't break on the first formation lap, they had to start by getting the grid mixed up and then fixing it again. That's probably what happened. It probably broke again after that. So that's my best guess, but I'm not sure.
Be right back.
Yep.
Alrighty. Time to ready up once again and try this once again as well. We already showed you the grid. We already showed you everything. And the drivers here don't need to start on the same tire once again. It'd be nice to have that Q2 tire rule back, but it's gonna be a while till that happens, I'm sure. Just a few stats since our stat sheet is not updated. Willow became the 62nd different podium sitter. Mercedes, 1 podium. Red Bull, 1 podium in the last 3 races. McLaren, 3. Ferrari, 4. Ferrari now in their 44th pole. Ferrari now in their 42nd win. Skither, 31 wins. Skither, 29 poles. Skither added some podiums to his name, so did Jack. KVS with a 10th podium. And now we're ready to dice it up here in Abu Dhabi. Once again, Titan Iron Wolf, one last time this season. One last time this game cycle. Any final thoughts before we're going to get the lights going? Remember, drivers got to remember their setups, adjust some fuel, and then give their strategies to us as well.
Well, let's hope it goes off without a hit this time. But yeah, as I mentioned prior, I think we'll see some action going into turn 4. Maybe someone might get a little dicey and go for a move into turn 1. Who knows?
Turn 5 is a good overtaking opportunity. So is that chicane. So is Abu Dhabi Parabolica corner. A Mythic and SV got into it in that first braking zone of Sector 3, but we're starting the countdown. Titan, any final thoughts on this game cycle before we end off Season 12 and F1 24? 10 seconds.
None at this time.
And if you have any final predictions, folks, put them in the Twitch chat. 5 lights on out of the drivers for one last time on F1 24 and Season 12 of F1, and it is lights out, and away we go. GTK got a halfway decent launch, but he's going to have to cover off Jack. Jack on the inside, side by side here. JTK prevails, side by side for 3rd, side by side for 5th. Wheel to wheel here, Cryptic trying to get the upper edge on Skither, and Cryptic going through. Now Skither has that inside line still, 2 by 2, lots of rows deep here, and you got Leo Lund trying to overtake KBS, he does, now trying to get Egg here on the outside. Ooh. Collision, that is F1 Shorts, ghosted there and had contact from somebody, not sure who he got tapped by, but you see Tiro as well. Going down the order, he might have had contact. For our lead, Jack Miles gets it.
Multiple gangling around in the chicane here, bumping, banging, clunking.
Contact! Egg! Ghosted! And Keko goes around! That was also KVS, tapping Leo Lund as well.
What a wild turn of events there. And looks
KVS
like...
on the inside, a lunge on Egg, maybe no. Or sorry, that was Danny. Because remember, Egg got tapped around right there. There was cars going to the far inside on the run to Sector 3 as well. Here's Egg on the inside of Mally, who's got a great start as well. Up 6 places. That's the most with FRC Knights now. Racing it out with Bourbon. Side by side here. Egg gets squeezed, and there's a big collision further on back. That's FRC Knights and Bourbon in the wall.
That's an ouch right there. Just, I mean, there was some arms out, shoving around between Egg and Mally for sure there. And also Skither, earlier at the exit of turn 5, got the advantage over in a 3rd over Cryptic. Cryptic got loose on the exit of turn 5, filed a 4th, but he is okay. No harm, no foul at this moment.
JTK looking to take back the lead on Jack Miles. You see on the order as well, Maxwell and Shorts trading places, but JTK staying in the slipstream of Jack. No move made here. DRS activated, and it goes all the way back to 9th place. Mally 41's gonna eager. Look at the moves further on back with Tiro and Red Fire. 3 wide behind. And on the inside, Red Fire locked the rears, and he's gonna lose some places. Mally got Egg, and now Tiro down some places. JTK reclaims the lead over Jack Miles now. Egg back in a 10th, and they're getting racy now with Gecko and Shorts. Gecko covers it off.
Yeah, Gecko covering off F1 Shorts, and Tiro thought about making a move on Maxwell, but Maxwell had him covered and scouted. But yeah, Red Fire.
Oh, Gecko loses it! in front of Shorts and somehow keeps it straight.
Gecko looked like he lost it on his own, but in F1 Shorts, nowhere to go. And that's how Gecko got a little more squirrely, got a little help, but the ghosting came into play and helped them out. Tiro looking to go the long way around against Maxwell, but can't seem to get it done. Eggins in the penalty box.
Contact, lots of it for 13th place. Maxwell trying to keep the place in this scrap. Remember, they're not in DRS range of our front pack. And speaking of our front pack, it goes back to 9th still. Both McLarens, who've been brawling it out, switching lead numerous times, are going to stay this way. Into the chicane. Here's Skither moving around in the braking zone. Maybe trying to find the racing line while following the cars in front. Easy to get distracted and hit the car in front of you. FX7 Danny, who's in 7th, losing touch with our top 6. But Jack Miles breezing back past JTK on lap 3 into Parabolica.
McLaren's doing a little bit of switching around every now and again, but they gotta be careful because Skither is right up on their tails looking and seeing an opportunity to make a move to maybe go for a 2-in-1 perhaps. Axel and F1 Shorts battling again for the 14th position after Tiro got by F1 Shorts to get himself into 13th.
F1 Shorts kept her on the outside and got the place for it, so a nice reward for a bold move there. Maxwell easily could have swooped in front of him, but did not. Egg with that penalty right now would fall outside that top 10. So keep an eye on Egg with that being said, but FX7 Danny, who's lost touch, also has KVS and Alex Norris hungry and following suit in that train of cars. Leo Lund at the back of this train is staying put. Remember, on mediums, Alex Norris, Malik, Beatnik, Tiro, Maxwell, Bourbon, and now Knights who pitted. JTK in the slipstream of Jack, and now breezing by Jack Miles to reclaim lead. Skither getting a little eager there as well on the inside, also passing Jack. So Jack from 1st to 3rd right there, and a span of that DRS straight. Leo Lund, who's in 6th right now, is watching behind him in his rearview mirrors. KVS and Danny swap. But everyone staying put here in this train now on the run to the long left-hander. Further behind, we did see Shorts and Maxwell having a go at one another, but now it's Shorts, Tiro, and Gecko. 3 abreast, almost a collision. Tiro was on the inside. Shorts was having none of it. Shorts kept the place, and Maxwell also got Gecko, so Gecko struggling here on the opening laps.
Yeah, Gecko not having a best opening stint, not to say the least. But yeah, he's just having a bit of a nightmare of a run in this last race of the season. So hopefully, but it's still in the early stages. He has time to regain some of the lost grip.
Remember, Bourbon having that right end plate damage, not choosing to pit. Knights did for his sake. But JTK is the one they're chasing after. Skither reeling him in. DRS applied. And Skither might want to go for it this time. He will. Skither on the inside. Powers past. Tiro also got Shorts in the background. But Shorts gets him back.
Ooh, little corny effect behind. Cryptic, Cookie, and Leo bumping and bumping. And multiple positions switching about in the back half. Maxwell down inside against Gecko. Gecko scouts it and keeps it back.
Leo Lund are on the outside of Cookie Titan. Leo Lund couldn't get it. Cookie covered it off. And we'll switch back to what you were talking about because this scrap for 13th is incredible.
Yeah, 5-6 cars all battling it out. It's like who wants to have the next who wants to have the last
Tiro
scrap?
Tiro off. F1 Shorts trying to take advantage, and F1 Shorts is going to give him the squeeze. Tiro back on the inside, pushing Shorts off the road, and Shorts re-entering behind Tiro.
Tiro making a mistake when F1 Shorts had it scattered out, had the scout out to try to get it, but had a little shove off there.
Everyone tucking back in line with that being said. JTK trying to follow our leader, Skither, and Tiro right there. Our second driver in the penalty box right there. DRS applied for JTK. Lots of ERS to spare. Skither, not as much, but still a lot. Skither, a sitting duck, getting passed for the lead by JTK, and now Jack. So Skither getting the same treatment Jack had, and JTK loses the rear. Jack taps him. Now they're 3 abreast, exiting the chicane, and Skither reclaims the lead.
Took complete advantage from that mistake on JTK's part, and that was an almost disaster mishap by McLaren. And looks like we have trouble in sector 2.
Yellow flag further back. That is
Maximum
at
blonde.
the back of our field. Yep. While that was happening, KVS, Alex, Danny continuing their brawl. KVS ahead. And then it's Alex, Norris, and Danny. JTK, in that mishap right there, almost was super costly, but he got back the lead from it. And like I said, McLaren are going to be in control of this race, but they need to make sure Skither doesn't get in between them, and right now he is. It's just going to be the long game considering they're on hards. Lap 7 of the Grand Prix, everyone's staying put. Egg gets another penalty.
Jeez. And that was
Think about that. That's basically a warning a lap.
Yeah, that's in the penultimate corner he got in.
It's definitely easy to get track limit warnings around this circuit, but I didn't think it was that easy. Egg having a tough time out there. Jack in the slipstream, using a bit of the button for a moment. Skither on half of Jack's battery is staying in line on JTK, but is Jack going to do that? Jack's trying to go for it. Skither defending. Nothing made there. But catching up to this train, Cookie trying to defend from Leo and lost the rear. A snap from Cookie allows Leo to go through, and Egg is now attacking Alex Norris. Side by side here. Alex keeping his nose in, and Egg just barely keeping himself ahead right here.
Egg is just dumping the overtake on there, but he has blown through all that battery available to him. But here in this third sector, he does have a chance to regain the battery loss there. Look like a spike on Egg's part. Egg's actually lagging.
Gecko gains a position on Shorts right there, down in 13th. Dave broke away from the train with Tiro, who is seriously struggling right now in that Mercedes. And if Egg is lagging, it's definitely going to hamper Alex Norris here, who's down in 10th. We'll get 9th with the current penalty situation if this race were to end. Lap 8.
Actually, just take a peek at Egg's warnings and pens that he had. He got 2 warnings on lap 2, 2 warnings on lap 3, and 2 warnings on lap 6.
And Tiro finally decides to pull the plug. He's into the pit lane. Jack Miles is getting eager on the inside with Skither. Wheel banging down the back straight. Now, Jack getting the slipstream from JTK, who covers off Skither 3 abreast for a moment, but Jack Miles gets the lead on his teammate, and a major stack up at the chicane allows Cryptic to just get a little breathing room here and not hit the back of Skither. You saw him ghosted right there to avoid hitting Skither. Shorts gets Gecko, and Skither not going to go for it here on JTK, or he will. Little late move on JTK. JTK saw it coming, but let him go anyway, and you could see the ghosting system kind of helping these guys out here with a little bit of lag going on, but Skither does cover the place. Skither's back in second, and he held on there at the very end of that braking zone.
It's basically a bit of a reverse effect. I mean, it was GTK third, and it was GTK in first, and Jack third. Now they just basically switched back.
Red Fire and Blonde, by the way. Don't know if there's team orders here, but they have swapped places down in 15th. It's Blonde now ahead. Mally gets ahead of Beatnik here. And I'm just looking at Mally's stream. I'm just gonna see how that happened. Beatnik's into the pit lane. What did Beatnik pit first? Yes, that's how that overtake happened right there. So Beatnik in a lap later than Tiro was. And you could definitely see some drivers on the struggle bus already on those medium tires. You maybe want them at the end, and that's why some drivers chose to start on hards. Skither in the path of Jack right here, maybe going for it, little indecisive. Right behind here, Leo Lund on the outside of Cryptic. Leo Lund clipped JTK. Leo Lund also clipped Cryptic, but Leo Lund gets ahead of Cryptic. Little scary moment for the drivers in 4th and 5th in this race. Skither not going for it on Jack, so everything's going to stay put there. But Skither not scaring Jack this time like he did to JTK a few moments ago. And Egg covering off Danny there for 7th. A little swap there in the Red Bull camp.
I did put a little correction for you because I was on board. I was watching Cryptic into the chicane. Leo bumped into the back of JTK, and then Cryptic right front wheel tapped JTK's left rear wheel. That had JTK just a tiny bit on the loose side. JTK had a little contact with 2 cars behind him, and now Norris is heading into the pits.
It's a good thing this Constantiner effect does not end off worse than it really could be. Maxwell also in, so Sauber double stacking. Bourbon also in as well. This is not really a smart choice from Sauber, is it?
Well, there's enough of a gap between the two, so I don't think Maxwell will be affected too badly.
Maxwell, last race for Ferrari Academy as well, not just Tier 1's sake. Danny getting past Egg, but Bourbon finally repairing that front wing damage after 8.5 long laps out there. Skither sitting in the wake of Jack, by the way. I think this is just going to be the long game here with these two. And Egg re-overtaking Danny there for the 7th place spot. If these guys work together, like we mentioned time and time again with these DRS trains on this game, they may catch the front of the pack if anything happens, but that's just a long shot. Gecko gets by Mally, who seems to be the last one of the competitive drivers on the medium compound. And F1 Shorts, I think, just bumping into the back of Mally right there. Mally as well, not just Tier 3 champion, but former Tier 1 champion as well. And Shorts, you saw right there, nudging Mally once again.
I think Mally might be going in pretty soon, maybe. No, he's still staying out at this present moment. But I mean, to be fair, I think with Ed and Danny swapping the positions, just going with it, I mean, it is possible they could try to catch the field and everything. But on the span of the last lap, they lost about 4/10 to the front 6.
Speaking of the front 6, we're about to see some moves. Skither going for it. Skither reclaiming the lead. Red Fire gets a penalty, and that's crucial in his race for the points, even though he's yet to pit. A little bump right there, but Danny, KVS, both get ahead of Egg. Now KVS trying to cover off Egg, and he does successfully. An Alpine switch right here. It's Shorts in front of Mally. And back at the front, here we go again. Both McLarens getting eager. A little contact. JTK touches with Jack. All clean right there. They keep it going, but that could have been race ending. KVS also back in at 7th place in this race.
KVS got by both of the Red Bulls, get himself in that 7th place spot. Mistake by Leo. Leo made a mistake,
and Leo Lund down a place, Cryptic up a place. These errors are really coming into effect in this DRS train a lot. Luckily, though, they're still staying with the top 3, which Cryptic seems to be falling away from.
I think he's about to fall out. Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be so nip and tuck right here. Skither maybe backing up for the sake of Leo right here, because Leo, his academy teammate in this train. Here goes Jack on the inside of turn 5. Tiro with a penalty, but Jack with a major lunge. It pays off successfully. And remember where that DRS detection point was. Jack Miles with DRS, Skither left in the dust without it. So now GTK goes past. Leo gets Cryptic, and Cookie does the same.
What a nice move by Jack there, and scattered it so well that he managed to get DRS out of turn 5. Very solid stuff there. Very good work.
Shorts
we're going to that.
Ahead of Gecko now. JTK, is he going to fight Jack? He is going to be the long way around now. Around the outside. Wheel to wheel with both McLarens here. Exiting Parabolica. JTK with the inside line. Jack will have to back off here, and he will concede the lead of this race. JTK re-inherits it, and a little nudge once again going into that braking zone. The problem with Skither being behind here, with both McLarens going past, it allows Leo Lund to get back in that DRS train that he was desperately needing to get back in. 1.5 seconds was that gap. It's now 7/10. Both Williams also swap it around for 13th once again. But remember, Red Fire, our Frenchman driver, has that penalty to spare.
He has a 3-second on there. Egg has 6 seconds, but the nice thing is, on the Egg part, he has some nice breathing room. He is 9.3 seconds clear of F1 Shorts, so Egg is safe to keep that P9.
Mally finally boxes.
That's at the halfway point.
Jack Miles not waiting around any longer, and he'll take back the lead of this race on lap 13. JTK gonna sit in line and play the train. KVS with Danny, another swap there as well. KVS back through. And again, it's just going to be about the long game here. How are you going to set yourself up for the pit stops? Here goes JTK getting a little defensive with Skither. Skither was protected there, and there you go. Nothing changing, but down in 12th here, Blonde is ahead.
Blonde getting back ahead of his
Skither
teammate.
rams JTK, but has got away with it. Holy cow, I was late on the brakes right there. Good reaction time.
And you don't want to have a collision this early stage. You don't want to screw yourself over going on forward. And Tiro off into the wall.
Tiro has made contact with the barrier, and I believe that's no front wing because of it. Nope, he's just got end plate damage. So Tiro's day coming undone, and a penalty handed out right there. Couldn't tell who that was to. I think that was Tiro again.
Tiro.
So not the way it could have ended for the Mercedes driver. By the way, with Leo Lund running 4th place, he can overtake Alpine, and that was unthinkable just a few rounds ago when they were behind Williams. So maybe a battle for 7th, even though we said 8th earlier on. JTK breezing back past Jack and cuts in front of the Welsh driver. Skither moving around the braking zone from left to right. And obviously he's got it figured out now. Danny, FX7 Danny, P7 for Danny. And that's an incident. Tiro crashes out of the pit lane. There you go. Tiro out of the event. Try and make the pit lane and didn't.
Yeah.
Safety car deployed as you said it.
Oh my goodness. I just cut over because I saw the yellow flag pop up again. I was like, oh, who was that Tiro that hit the wall? I'm like, yep, he did. He has no wing.
This is going to be troubling for both McLarens, Titan. Both McLarens are going to have to double stack here.
Ooh,
JTK the lead, or Jack in second.
And he got no choice.
And also, Red Bull will be another team to double stack here, unless someone stays out. No. Ferrari with KVS, the second one to double stack. And of course, Tiro, we lose him from the event. Everyone here is going to have to choose medium compound tires. There's not really anything that could be done about the situation at hand.
Is that good for Jack?
Double stack. Jack's back in 6th.
Yep.
So Jack lost a lot of places. Leo Lund right now on the podium for Haas. And KVS was one affected by the double stack. Egg as well. Both Williams do pit here. Alex Norris stays out. Remember, he was one of the drivers who started on the mediums. And he was right near this fight with Egg, Danny, and KVS. And a race out of the pit lane. Egg does get ahead. Mally also was one to pit from those tires. He's going to get out ahead of a few drivers as well. Maxwell with a penalty. But we're now halfway in this race. And a safety car halting the event.
I know I ain't much given his position, but doesn't get another warning, he can get it removed because that penalty that he got was from entering the pit lane. And literally, the entrance for the Abu Dhabi pit lane is just so stupid. Like, literally, if you have your wheel just literally touch the inner white line or the curb, it's an automatic warning. It's just dumb.
This does kind of open things up for FRC Knights, who was back there, by the way, in that lap 1 incident. Borbin as well got that wing damage repaired. So, obviously, things will work out for some of these guys who it didn't look to be their day. Egg, by the way, had that penalty, and he had a good buffer. That no longer can be said. Yeah, so, of course, that white line glitch on pit entry, even though you don't touch it, it still gives you a penalty, so, or a warning. So, of course, if drivers do get that clipped and get their race director, they can get that removed. Might be our last safety car of the season as well. At the pit lane here, what's happened? Oh, well, Bourbon's back in. I'm going to have to guess, because of the way things started, he'll go to the medium compound. And with how much those drivers on the mediums really struggled in that first stint and really dropped off the pace, you got to wonder here, Alex Norris could be in for maybe a better result. Malley maybe. Obviously, the safety car helps those drivers go to the end of this event, but again, some of these drivers will be on that struggle bus at the end of the event.
Yeah, some of the drivers may have to manage the tires, may struggle a little bit, but who knows? I mean, this is Tier 1. These guys know what they're doing. They know how to get the best effort and the best maximum output out of their tires. I mean, currently, in regards to the tires, the worst one off right now is Alex Norris in 10th place. 6-lap old hard comp tires. So that means he's going to be going he's going to be going almost 19 laps on those hard compounds. So that's really going to throw a monkey wrench in his plans.
I don't know. I think he'll be okay considering they're the hard compound. For Alex, I think the issue...
It's just keeping him up to 10.
It's more so... Well, it's more so the fact that he's in the Sauber and that car does drop off a bit easier. If this was the front of the field, I don't think we'd be saying that. But look at this. They're 3 abreast under the safety car. Well, we'll see if there's any pens handed out for it. But the safety car is in this lap, and JTK is in control of things here on lap 16. I'll let you take this one in just a few moments' time, but those hards, as you know it on F124, they'll make it to the end. It's just a matter of if they're fast enough. It's going to be the problem. And that Sauer, will they handle it? Safety car in the pits, so green flag back in the air very soon here.
I think JTK might be in trouble.
Below the pit lane speed. We'll see. Back to green flag action. Yeah, well, we'll keep an eye on it. JTK, though, leads the field back to green flag racing. Here's Cookie, in front of Cryptic, excuse me, already eager to get by Leo Lund, and no move made there, but we're looking at the back of the field now where, again, that's where the stack up gets to. Maxwell, Knights, Bourbon, they had to check up a little bit earlier, but they end up figuring that out. No move made, and no incident there. Egg going for a send on the inside of KVS at turn 5. Gecko and Alex battling just like Brazil. Gecko gets the advantage. KVS side by side at the drag race now with Egg. Neck and neck. Here's Jack and Cryptic. Jack gets by Cryptic, and Cryptic will let him go. I think KVS did the same thing with Egg. KVS not going to go back through.
One more extra ghosting being into effect here. Cookie, Jack, and Cryptic ghosting a little bit. But, yeah, Jack recovering up into the 5th place spot. Cookie up in the 4th, trying to chase down Leo. And Leo hunting Skither down as well. That is some hotly contested positions in regards to that.
Nick fell down to 19th, as you saw in the background. Maybe we were locking it, maybe getting a tap, whatever the case was. He is down in last of the drivers still running. Lap 18 of this race now, and remember, although we see safety car on the top of our boards, there is no safety car. That is a glitch, and DRS is online. Jack Miles is the fastest driver on the track. He just set the fastest lap, and Jack Miles, maybe another one on the cards here. 4th place up for grabs for the Welshman. Is he going to go to the left? Is he going to go to the right? Cookie defending a little move right there twice, but Jack on the inside with a dive bomb hits Cookie right there, forcing him out, but Jack gets the place. Jack in 4th now.
And Jack goes up in the 4th. A little indecisive defending from Cookie, figuring out where he needs to go. It's going to make the full decision up there. And in the background, Egg up against KBS for the 8th spot. Nice attack and done by Egg.
JTK is the leader. Skither wants it. And right now, into Sector 3, no move made. Egg now, 3 abreast here. KVS, the farthest on the inside, is not going to get the first place in this second train. Egg gets the place, but at the expense of it, picks up yet another penalty. He's up to 9 seconds, so he's really racking up the penalties. Here's Redfire and Mally, side-by-side action here. Redfire keeping his nose in contact, leaning on each other, bouncing off each other once again. But Redfire defends the place for 13th, regardless of the penalty situation.
I mean, these guys are Academy teammates from the Mercedes Academy. They're teammates. They're just having a little fun with each other.
Jack Miles up into 4th, setting yet another fast lap. And on the charge right here, his next opponent is Leo Lund and the Haas, trying to give Haas their first podium. Remember, Leo Lund had it last week, but lost it in the storage room. It was Jack Miles who he lost it to, pretty much.
You know the funniest thing is that Jack's at the fast lap and Skidder going down the inside, gets past GTK to take the lead. Leo looking to fall through? Yes, he does! But GTK's fighting it.
Getting the squeeze right there. JTK on the inside, bouncing off Leo, pinching and squeezing going on right here, but Leo Lund back in second.
What a fight that was between those guys. Between GTK and Leo, as Bourbon now joins the Penalty Box Club, and GTK looking to stick a nose against Leo, just going to get done, caught off a little bit, but Leo wasn't too bad.
Bourbon on the inside powers past Mally. Knights gets Maxwell, but this battle back here is such a cracking battle to look at. We got to keep our eye on it time and time again, but the Academy teammates, Knights and Maxwell, clash.
That was crazy to see right there. It gets the fastest lap. But will he keep it, though, if he stays in the top 10?
Blonde picked off by Bourbon. Bourbon on the charge again. Maybe the lap fresher mediums playing into his hand. The top 10, by the way, in DRS pursuit of the leaders. Here's Cryptic, as you said it, with a lunge up the inside. Wheel banging Cookie now. More wheel banging. They can't get off each other. Cookie prevailing ahead.
Cryptic just going full balls to the wall trying to get it done. But Cookie scouts it out, and hello. Hi, Egg. How are you? I see you there. And wow.
Beatnik gets a pen. There's a lot of places trading outside of our points. Alex Norris now leads that train down in 11th, and that's going to become the point spot with Egg's penalty being applied. Egg swooping around the outside and taking 6th place on track. And looking further back here, F1 Shorts and a gaggle of cars. Bourbon on the inside, trying to get 2 and 1. Shorts shuts the door.
And Bourbon really
Gecko again.
Holding his own against Alex Norris, Alex Norris sticking the wheel in there, trying to make it happen, but can't seem to get done at the moment. I mean, yeah, you had the battle up front, but I mean, literally, check out this dog pile here.
Here goes Egg on the inside of turn 1. This is not a usual overtaking zone, but he does it. He gets the place in 5th, and he wants to pull the gap with the penalty. Here's Cookie and Cryptic again.
Cookie trying to fend off not 1 but 2 people here, as Cryptic thought about it, but just can't seem to get it done. Meanwhile, Skidler is about to break or pass from Leo, but just couldn't get it at the moment.
Leo Lund is going to have to protect that place. Speaking of protecting places, here's Cryptic and Cookie duking it out once again. Egg hits the back of Jack, and Jack gets unsettled. Egg is through, but Egg lets Jack back through. Jack has lost touch with the top 3, and now JTK can go fight the Ferraris. JTK is going to get 2 and 1, or is he? Yes!
He has it, but Skiller's not giving up just yet. He's fighting it back.
Burning the battery. Skither back through. Unreal stuff at the front of our field, and it seems to appear everywhere where you look, there is a battle.
Well, Jack was temporarily out of DRS range from the front 3, just temporarily. Now he's back in it.
This fight is definitely going to go to the very end. Remember, top 10 in DRS pursuit of our leader. Egg and Gecko will be falling places with penalties right now. However, it's weird to say, even though Gecko has a penalty, he might actually gain one.
Yeah, because I believe he has 3. He has 3. Well, Egg has 9. Yeah.
Leo Lund lurking on the inside of JTK thinks better of it. Leo Lund needs to keep a cool head here, not only for the sake of his penalty point situation, but the sake of that straight line speed. Haas lacks in those straight line speed areas, and JTK on the inside of Skither, making him think right here. Remember, these two have a little bit of history. Singapore last season, now Leo Lund on the inside. Leo Lund shoving Cryptic to the curb. Wheel to wheel banging now. Leo Lund, JTK, both in the battery, 3 wide. JTK in the middle. Skither keeps ahead.
And Leo looking to do it what Skither did. They're still side by side, heading into the braking zone. And Leo is ahead of the apex, but JTK fends him off on the inside. But that's going to come at the cost of the battery getting fried for both of them.
Blonde passed Alex Norris. Alex Norris went back past. You saw Skither lagging right there from the lead. Lap 23 now. This fight, not only did we say it's going to go to the end, but you know what? If there's a mistake right now, you're going back to 10th. You're not going back to 5th or 6th like it was earlier on.
Let me check the leader. Let me check on the leader gap. Let's see. Egg at the moment with 9 seconds. He will fall to P. Will fall to P12.
Hold on, Titan. Jack Miles was using a bit of battery, but it caused Leo to do so. Leo's caught up to JTK again. JTK is now going in the attack. On the offense is JTK. On the defense is Skither. Look at this. Contact! JTK gets the lead, but at the expense of Skither getting hit from behind.
That was
lots of contact down there.
That was Jack that hit him.
Malley gets Red Fire. Red Fire gets Malley back. KVS getting his elbows out with Cryptic now. KVS is 7th on the road.
I just back to what I was mentioning very quickly in regards to Egg. If the race ended right now with the penalties factored in, Egg is just going to miss out on a point. He'll fall to P11 behind Jack. He'll fall to P11.
Malley's holding his own nicely in this 13th place train. 5-car fight here. Both Williams in the fight. JTK, though, our leader, trying to win his first RPL race. He's had podiums many, many times. And you know what? It was this race last season that he's had podiums. This race last season where he had his last podium 20 races ago. Got it in the stewards room there. And you know what? What a way it would be to end off this F124 game cycle with a first career win for JTK, the Dutchman, but also McLaren/Alpine Academy, shutting down as an academy and moving over to the Mercedes camp. Here we go again. Everyone moving around, jockeying for position. Leo Lund on the inside, racing now with Skither. Jack's there to follow suit. Skither shuts the door on Leo, so now Leo gets vulnerable to Jack. Jack's there. Cookie's there. Second place up for grabs.
What a war and a half for these guys as they head into their low rig contact between Jack and Leo. Leo gets a little unsettled, and Jack almost tried to take advantage, but couldn't get it done.
The scuffle with these 5 cars. 13th on back is continuing to heat up. Red Fire leading the charge. Alex Norris would get the place with no penalties, and Alex Norris gonna go for a lunge to the inside of Red Fire. Alex Norris around the outside has to concede the place, and he does.
Yeah, what a fight in that one. And by the way, with all these guys fighting up, well, a Cryptic booming blue and white car in his background. Ding dong, hello, it is Gecko. Gecko's almost in DRS range.
If Jack Miles, sitting in 4th here, is going to 4-peat in Abu Dhabi, he is going to need a miracle here. And he's also going to need help from his teammate, JTK, right now as well. JTK, our leader, but for how much longer? Skither regains the lead. FRC Knights gets a pen as well, but Skither clears JTK by the corner.
Yeah, Skither game.
Egg got a tap. That was Danny got a tap. That was from Cryptic. Cryptic backed off to ensure that Danny would keep the place. And right now, Skither's not going to maintain the lead. JTK on the inside, and powers past. The Dutchman leads again.
Yeah, let's get close to the end here as we get to the final stages here, these guys literally have to think of a few things: ERS management and when to make the right attack. If they mess
too,
up the
Titan.
wrong point, it'll be screwed up.
Beatnik, Alex, Mally, Red, Blonde. What a cracking battle this is. Beatnik pulling in front, but Alex gets all out of shape. Unbelievable car control. 2x2 here under the bridge. Wow. Unreal scenes.
How did Alex not get stuffed into the wall from that?
Cinema.
Yep.
Skither putting pressure on our leader, reeling him back in again to swap around once again. JTK on 84% in the battery. Skither 88. Leo Lund on worse ERS as well, 20% worse. Skither cuts back in front to regain the lead on JTK. And also, another ERS check. Jack down on 50% or 60% right here, so the deficit in ERS is definitely an interesting one to watch. JTK gonna choose the long way around once again. He'll get Skither. Skither tucks back in. That was Alex and Beatnik swapping, but Beatnik vulnerable to Mally. These two used to be teammates back then.
The second DRS straight is the main overtaking area. So pretty much on the last lap, if Skither really wants this win to happen. Oh, jeez, Leo got squirrely out of 14. And that is now making him quite vulnerable to Jack. But as I was mentioning, Skither, if he really wants to get the win, he's going to have to dump everything on the final lap in the second DRS zone if he wants that win.
3 to go, so our safety car window out of the equation. 3/10 the deficit between first and second. Leo Lund lurking there in the background, trying to deliver Haas their first podium. And also trying to knock Jack Miles off the podium in Abu Dhabi for the first time since Season 7. Here's Skither, reeling in JTK, but I think he's going to wait. No, he's not. He'll go for it to the inside. Skither. Oh, Leo Lund. He's going to try the attack. 2 and 1 to the inside. Leo Lund with a massive overtake. Leo Lund grabs the lead, and JTK wiggles Jackson to third.
Jesus.
Bold, brave, beautiful. And the risk didn't pay off for long because Skither re-inherits the lead.
Leo
that was insanely calculated from the Swedish driver and the Season 11 champion.
Well, Leo Lund had to dump all of his ERS because in the chicane, he was down in the 20s for ERS deployment. He dumped a lot on that first ERS zone. And by the way, very quick update. Whoa! Hello!
Oh, collision! Jack! On the inside of Leo, they come together, and Alex Norris back there picks up a penalty. Leo Lund tries to re-enter in front of JTK, but JTK is there. Leo Lund trying to defend and can't much longer. JTK backs off, or does he? A little pinch there from Leo. KVS with a penalty.
JTK on the inside trying to get it done. He's in there. He's there.
Whoa, contact! Egg and Cookie, bash and bang. Cookie's back at it.
Here comes KVS too. Three abreast in the background. Seeing on my end from on board with GTK, and KVS thought about sneaking a peek on Egg, but no, can't seem to get it done.
A little contact between him and Cookie. Must be said though, JTK fell from first to fourth right there in a span of just a few moments. And Jack, who was fourth not a few moments ago, now leads the Grand Prix here with 2 to go. And we're reaching the final lap next time by also the final lap of the season and the game cycle. But here's KVS trying to pull the gap now and can't. He's going to have to cut in behind Cryptic for 7th right there.
I'm just seeing on the leader end, Egg is actually gonna get a point. He's gonna get 1 point. He'll fall to 10th because actually he may be 9th because Gecko's a couple of tenths away from losing out. But we're on the final lap now. It's all up in the
final lap
front
of the
five.
season. Final lap of the game cycle. Do you want to be the leader now or do you want to wait for it? Skither's trying to win 4 races in a row. Is he going to go for it at turn 5? The illustrious corner, known for Verstappen and Hamilton. He sees it coming. Jack does. Skither on the inside. Skither attacking.
Skither got a little squirrely on the apex, but just continue to get it done. He goes on the inside, gets ahead of Jack, but let's see what the area's availability. Leo involved. Hello. Oh,
Leo tags Skither and Skither spins around. Skither, heartbreak to try and go for 4 in a row. Leo Lund tagged his teammate and bash, bang, JTK, here he comes. Around the outside, trying to deny Jack Miles of a 4P. Leo spins. Oh my goodness, and Cookie right now is gonna get the podium.
What the hell?
He ended off Tier 2 with a win in the season finale. He started tonight with a pole, and McLaren/Alpine Academy is going to get a wonderful send-off. From the Rockstar to now the Flying Dutchman, JTK earns his first career win in Abu Dhabi.
Wow.
Jack Miles second, and Cookie returns to the podium down in 3rd. Cryptic 4th. Leo 5th, and Skither rage quits at the finish.
I think he may get
A
that.
spin, Alex Norris! Collision! Beanick involved! Now, it's going to be Knights and Maxwell to end off the field, but unbelievable. JTK gives McLaren their first... his first win with a McLaren 1-2. And Maxwell and Knights gonna end off with some donuts here.
Yeah, I was wondering when they were gonna do that. Let's have some fun at the end, eh?
Maxwell with his last Tier 1 race for a while. Last race with the Ferrari Academy. Knights gonna go to that Sauber. Both will cross the line after a hard-fought battle right there, but Leo Lund basically took out Skither right there and stopped the three-peat happening for an American sweep on the weekend. And JTK overtook Jack on the last lap to deny Jack of a 4P in Abu Dhabi and a backflip to end things off. JTK with that maiden win celebrates in style.
Oh, wow.
What a way for McLaren/Alpine Academy to end off. Unbelievable. The champagne being sprayed. Cookie as well up there. Great performances. Bourbon from P20, by the way, just missing out on points. Not sure what's going to happen with Skither's whole thing right there, but I think he has a lot of reasons to be frustrated. And of course, we'll see if he gets classified after everything is said and done. Here are your final results. JTK with his maiden win. Jack in 2nd. Cookie in 3rd. Cryptic in 4th. Leo Lund 5th. KVS, Danny, Egg, Gecko, and Shorts round out the points. Outside of that points, you had a big battle and a big collision there on the last lap. Bourbon 11th. Mally, Blonde, Red Alex, Beatnik, Maxwell, and Knights to finish off our field. Skither, 3.422 seconds back. So if he had his time, he would technically get 6th. And if he does get classified here inside that top 10, regardless of leaving early, it's going to knock Shorts out of the points and put Gecko, the last car, in the points. Our only retirement today came from Tiro, who crashed out at the pit lane entry. Holy cow.
Wow. But yeah, even though GT got the win, bear in mind he may not keep it because of that safety car restart for going too slow under the safety car for the restart. He may lose that.
Yeah. A lot of people saying Skither got robbed. But JTK, he was just wanting to settle for what would be P3. And, well, it ended up being a victory for him. Storage report pending, of course. Yeah, must be said, Titan. What a race on our hands in Abu Dhabi for one final time. Who would you give driver of the day to from today?
Uh, Honestly, I have no clue. I don't know.
I would give it to JTK. I know he could maybe lose in the stewards room, but I think he was just right on the limit there. He may have won in the 40s, but I don't know if they'll do much about it just because he might have just barely been below. Depends on who sends it in. I don't really know. I would hate to see him lose a maiden win like that after the whole last lap we had, but the aggression level clearly hit the maximum there at the end. And it always seems to be the case here in RPL, but that's why we love it. The Realistic Performance League, showing us once again why these realistic cars, although not an equal league, can still provide the same amount of racing possible. And we saw it today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to give driver of the day to JTK. I would hate for him to lose it in the stewards room, but even if he doesn't or does, he put in a well-earned hard drive. And one from pole. His first pole, too. Well, it is time to say goodbye. Not only is this my last race, but it is also the last race on F124. It's also the last race in Season 12. Lots of good endings closing in tonight. That's for sure. Titan, any final thoughts?
Well, I could just easily say it was a hell of a ride to be on the Cocom with you for season 12, and I've mentioned it before. It's not going to be the same tier one comps going forward without you around. It's gonna suck. I will admit that. Say that straight up. It's gonna suck without having you around because the chemistry you and I have is actually a lot. It's actually hella clutch, and tier one is just not gonna be the same without you in a booth.
Yeah. I know you didn't always like the way it started with Season 9 with coming in and whatnot, but yeah, it definitely has transformed to be some of the drivers and some of the people's favorite lineup every Saturday night. Even every Friday night with doing Tier 2 was a blast. Tier 3 at times Thursday night was a blast. Even F2 when I got to do it was a blast. It definitely is something I'll be happy to cherish regardless. But yeah, we'll see. That'll be it.
I think I made up my mind actually in regards to. I mean, I'm putting it as an asterisk in regards to
With JTK.
Well, no, I'm not gonna say JTK because I mean he could lose it in the stewards room, but I'm putting actually he's more like one of the contenders perhaps, in my opinion. But another driver today contender that I'm putting an asterisk on is I'm gonna say Danny.
Yeah, it's actually
Danny
a good shout.
played nice and because I think it's his second ever Tier 1 start in the Red Bull.
It's his first Red Bull start, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it's his first. Oh, well, if it was first, I mean, he's got some good position, so that's not nice points on his first run.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah, he had a good race, I would say, and especially considering not long ago he was a Tier 2 driver. That's quite impressive. Alrighty, folks. Still off-season races to go, but this is the last race for Season 12 of F1. This is our last points-paying race on F124. We have F125 coming up in a few months' time, and also some races on there. I'm sure RPL, like they did for 23 and 24, will have some preseason races. I'm not sure if any of these off-season races and fun races will be streamed. I'm sure there's drivers like Polish who want to stream them for the sake of getting used to maybe being a main comm. He mentioned he might want to do Tier 2, all that kind of stuff. So everyone might have still some streams here for this off-season. We'll find out. Time will tell. That is for sure. But it has been a blast these past few Tier 1 seasons. Season 9, Season 10, Season 11, and Season 12. don't cry because it's over. Be happy because it happened. That's what they always say. And you know what? All good things must come to an end at some point. You know, I mean, rushing back here from work, it definitely has been stressful at times, but for a while it was definitely something I loved. And I did, as much as I have been losing passion, as people do know, for commentating, I still loved to cover it in some aspect here to end off F124 and keep the mojo going. And hopefully whoever comes after me, whether it's Titan, Polish, Faded, Owen, whoever, doesn't matter who, they can keep the same mojo going that we had. It definitely made the races more interesting and made some things that people want to look out for a bit more intriguing compared to before. So that is for certain, folks. Until next time, thank you again, RPL and RPL Tier 1. Ryan Searles signing off with my co-com, RPL Titan Iron. We say goodnight and we say goodbye. Until our next new chapter, we are off. We hope you have a good one, and we will see you next time at RPL Formula 1 on F125. Good night and goodbye, and thank you so